That's cool. And Odea, you're playing the girl everybody wants to be. Every girl wants to be in school. That's for sure. That's the ideal. But she's not a stereotype, which is what I liked about her. I mean, you could see the friendship. She was not the mean girl, kind of character, which it could easily go into in a lot of Hollywood movies. You talk about playing, Jenna?
Yeah. I agree with what you said. I think that's the only way to do it. I mean, I think a lot of it is Greta's writing. I think the first time when I auditioned, when I just read the writing, I just knew how to say it. I just knew what kind of girl she was and how she talked right away, and the writing was so exceptional, so that really helped it. But I think it's just if you grow up really comfortably and you have a good family and everything is kind of working out, you don't really want to reach for anything else. And I think she's just someone that everybody has struggles in their lives, but she just didn't really have that intensive struggle. So she's kind of okay and doesn't want to try so hard, whereas Lady Bird is just such a go-getter, and I think all of her struggles lead to that, to her going to New York. But I think Jenna just hasn't had anything crazy going on, and that's her life, and that's what she's used to, and that's her reality. So it's just kind of a comfort for her.
Did making this movie make you want to move to Sacramento?
No. No, I'm kidding. Yeah.
You all just want to move to Sacramento
right now?
No. I did. I actually went to Sacramento for 2 days. We went to a Paul McCartney concert. Shout out to Eli for hooking those tickets up. That was really fun. But it's so beautiful, and it's so. I'm not from the States. I'm from Israel, so I feel like Sacramento is what you think America is. Like, it's big. Everything is just spread out, and there's no rush, and people are super polite, and they're nice because they want to be nice, and it's very, kind of politically correct, but in a way that's, you're not trying to piss anyone off. Israel is very like, you know what I mean? Everything is small and crammed, and then, yeah, that's my. Okay.
I asked that because I saw this movie, Telluride, but since then I've seen 3 other movies all shot in Sacramento. It's happening.
Sacramento's just wait and see. It's coming. Yeah. No, I mean there's lots of great things. I can really talk about. It's the city of trees. It has more trees than Paris. It has the largest tree canopy in North America. Tom Hanks is from Sacramento.
This is the first thing Greta talked about when I met her.
Yeah.
This is the first thing.
Is that right?
Mark Spitz. I can keep going. Jessica Chastain. Just, we're in there. Justice Kennedy.
You do know you should work for the Chamber of Commerce, though.
It's my side gig.
Marielle, so talk about working, obviously the character of Shelley and Miguel, they're great. Yeah. They are sort of they become sort of the same person. It's an interesting
they're one.
dynamic.
They're one. They're like this dark shadow that just like follows. But we decided really early on that they were like very much in love and that they had this very sweet relationship. And although they like look extreme and are like, a pretty intense couple, but they actually they really love each other. And I think that's a testament to the writing, is that you can follow any story and it's a full life. So we get a little peek into their life, but not fully yet. Yeah. Yet. Just kidding.
Lady Bird 2.
Shelley and Miguel go vegan.
Really? Is there going to be a Lady Bird 2?
I mean, I do think if there was a Lady Bird 2, it would be like following a character that would not the main character. Like I want to know, like, I mean, we had this whole backstory, like Shelley and Miguel met while they were both at Berkeley, and they were both like goth and politically super left, and they were like living in a commune house together, and then they moved, we had this whole thing, and I don't know, they're like politically charged veganism. It really warms my heart, and I love them. They're great. They're like they're great characters, and you guys, Jordan, and you would wear your hair the same way in every scene.
Yeah, even
like,
in the Christmas
in
scene.
Christmas, they both have like this top knot, and
I made Jordan do that.
Yeah.
I was like, "What's at the top knot?" He was like, "No." I was like, "Yeah." Well, I can't say that my brother's in the audience, but he dated this girl, and they, sorry, Michael, they became kind of the same person. So when I read the script, I was like, oh, I know them. Oh, wow. And so it was really easy for me to like tap into that. Sorry, Michael.
All right, Bob. I took drama all through high school, all through college. I was that kind of guy, and I never had a drama teacher like you.
Well, I think if you asked Greta to be honest, the script started with the JV coach. I mean, really, like, it's kind of like what this whole thing centers around that. I mean, his backstory and whatnot. I went to boarding school, and I actually, this happened. We had teachers that they never had enough teachers. They would always like kind of cover for each other, and so we had a math teacher try to do PE once, and it was pretty. I was just like, man, he's really trying. Like, nobody really wanted to be there or anything, but man, he was gung ho, and he's going to do this. And I was like, I'm just going to do that, I think. I feel like he's just going to make the best of it, and you know, if these kids, I'm gonna get them. I'm going to win these kids, and so, yeah.
You did it so realistically, though. I mean, the whole thing was so actually believable and kind of endearing. Is he based on anybody you've ever encountered? Or?
Well, there was a football coach slash choir teacher, which was a very exciting combination. But when Bob did it, he brought this incredible sweetness to it. Like, it was written on the page that he was that person, and now he's going to try to do this. But like, he brought this kind of earnest trying to it. Like, he was going to do the very best he could. He was going to take these skills and try to apply them over here. And it made you love the character, because it wasn't just, it was like a man really doing the best he could. And it was hilarious. And
it was super fun, because it was basically like, okay, stand at the chalkboard, okay, go.
Yeah.
It was like,
well, that was like,
just draw some X's and O's and start.
Yeah, that was like one of the few places, like, I don't do improvisation at all, basically, but that was like one of the very few places that, like, we had the scripted things, like, you know, a play is a play, and then I was like, now just explain this based on who you know this guy is. And he came up with like the wide lines are singing, and like that was I mean, I was crying. I was laughing so hard while we were doing this. I like couldn't believe it. I was like, well, if nothing else, we've got that.
And you had much more than that, because I'm going to turn to some audience questions, which they filled out, and go right into something that ties in with this. And this is from Marcus. Where's Marcus? Right in the back. There's Marcus. Okay, Marcus wants to know what the inspiration was for choosing Merrily We Roll Along, a show I love, and has Stephen Sondheim seen the film?
Merrily We Roll Along is my favorite musical. And Stephen Sondheim he's Stephen Sondheim. He's interchangeable with any deity you want to throw out there. He's like, I love him so much. And there was something about the musical Merrily that felt like it for people who don't know the musical, it's about three best friends, and it starts when they're all grown up, and then it moves backwards in time to when they're 17, 18, graduating from high school, dreaming about the life they'll have. And it's a beautiful musical, but there's a real central kind of ache in it, because it has this quality of like time is tumbling forward faster than you can hold on to it, and moments are kind of just slipping past you. And I felt like it was kind of an inappropriate musical for high school to do, which made me laugh. I didn't do that musical, and I also love it when teenagers pretend to drink alcohol on stage. I think it's so funny. Like, I wish I could just have a supercut of like all like teenagers playing older people drinking, and like. Yeah, we're doing like Death of a Salesman or something. But so I love that. And then I figured for the people who knew what the musical was, they'd sort of know why that works. And the people who didn't, I wasn't overly concerned with explaining what it was. I thought maybe you'll go home and look it up, and then you'll know what it is. But I love it, and I loved that them doing it was like. So great. And then, yeah, like Mari and Jordan and Tracy's face watching it. It was just like the best cutaway I could have asked for.
And did Sondheim see the movie?
Oh, God, did he? I don't know. He did read the script when he gave his permission, and but I don't know that he's seen it yet. I have to. I'm kind of nervous about that, but I'd love him to.
Why? You have put his notorious flop show that shouldn't be on film forever.
Forever. That's right. That's right.
I bet he'll love that.
I hope so.
All right. This is for Saoirse. I don't know who wrote this, but you know who you are out there. Now that you're older and wiser, do you approach your roles differently? Yeah. Or how is it different?
How is it different?
Or how is it different?
I think I definitely went through a stage where I probably overcomplicated it a little bit, because when you do it when you're a kid, it's so simple. It's kind of easy in a way. You're not clouded. Your thought isn't clouded by second guessing yourself or comparing yourself to someone else or something else you've done, because you haven't done anything else. There's no expectations or anything like that. And so it's an amazing feeling to just be completely kind of uninhibited. So that's something that I've had to get back to. And I only went through a little stage where I was sort of, didn't have it as much, but I'm back to that now. But I also think, like, from role to role, it's always a slightly different prep, But ultimately, for me, it's been the same, because I didn't train or start in theatre or anything like that. I really did sort of just rely on the script and instinct, and then from that being open to trying things different ways. But that, I haven't really veered away from that at all.
But you did go to theater and did The Crucible right about the time that you got this role, too.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Timmy's a big fan.
It was great.
Timothy's a clear fan of that show.
He loved it.
No, it was very exciting. She was so great in The Crucible, and I brought Lucas Hedges, who's also so fantastic, who's in this movie. I cast Lucas as Danny, and he came with me to see her in The Crucible, and I was sitting there, and I realized, because Lucas was gasping and really into it, and I was like, have you not seen this? And he was like, no, he'd never seen it, he'd never read it, he didn't know what it was about, so he was like experiencing it for the first time, and it was so wonderful. And he was, how many people know The Crucible really well? The part where they're like writing, and they're like, he's like doing his commandments, and he misses adultery from his commandments, and Lucas was like, he missed adultery. and I was like, yes.
for Greta and Timothy, please tell us about the construction of Kyle. Such a wonderfully specific douchebag to our generation. Like so on the nose to be entirely Timothy's invention. Would love to hear about the full process that went into his creation and specifically his clueless, well-meaning narcissism.
Well, I have to say, I do not think of Kyle as a douchebag. I think of him as a 17-year-old who's like, dealing with his own stuff, and he's got a lot of defense mechanisms. But, I never, with Odea's character, I never wanted the character Timothy was playing to be generic. I didn't want him to be like the high school kid who was just, some sort of jock or something. I wanted him to be like, he's not wrong about a lot. The truth is I share some of Kyle's paranoias. Is the honest truth. He's got some valid points. I'm not trying to barter, but I do think they might try to put cell phones in our brains. But.
I was in a bar 2 weeks ago in New York, and I saw someone kind of staring me down. I thought, oh, cool, they probably saw Call Me by Your Name. That's gonna be great. And they said, isn't that the douchebag from Ladybird? But listen, he's not a pure antagonizer, people. This kid has real problems in his life. And let me tell you, there is a scene in this movie similar. So Danny, which is Lucas's character, gets that beautiful scene where out near the garbage and breaks down in Ladybird's arms. And it's as an audience you go yay for Danny. And there was a scene in this film where my father dies, and I go over to my family and I give them a hug, and we all break down together. Weirdly, I met the family that day because it's acting, and you meet the people you're acting with sometimes day of, and it was very surreal going over to a family and all crying together because none of us knew each other. So, and that scene evidently got cut. It's not in the movie. So, anyhow.
I know. That was one of the only scenes that didn't make it in the final.
That was one of the only scenes that didn't make it.
Well, there's a couple scenes. That scene, and there was a goodbye, an official goodbye scene with Danny, and an official goodbye scene with Julie. But both of those, there was a feeling of those stories felt like they were closed loops by the time I was in the edit. But I would say 90% of the script is on the screen. Almost exactly as written.
Will it be in the Blu-ray and the extras?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Probably. I have DVD extras always have kind of freaked me out, I have to say. Well, it's because when I watched them when I was a kid, it was wait, those two characters hung out? What? I felt sort of betrayed by them. I'm specifically thinking of the DVD extras of Good Will Hunting. No, I swear, Minnie Driver goes and visits Ben Affleck on a construction site, and they talk about Will Hunting, and I was like, they're not friends? She wouldn't do that? What's happening? And I felt I didn't want to know this. So, sorry, that's just my own problem with that.
No, it isn't. It isn't. Cinema Paradiso is one of my favorite movies, and I made the mistake of watching the longer director's cut.
Yeah.
And it should have been the original version and not that. I didn't want to see him go on for 45 minutes later. Sometimes what you left us is the way it should be, and what you gave us here is a gem. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank all of you for coming out. Thanks, guys.